A very warm welcome to BookFlix Live. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to have the ninth episode of BookFlix Live. Before getting into the details about this show, I would like to sincerely thank you for your love and support and continuous viewership. Those are so important to me. It is because of your love and support that I am able to successfully conduct this show up to episode number 9 today. And I'll keep needing your love and support in the days to come as well. Ladies and gentlemen, I have shared in the morning in a short live video that we are going to have the concluding session of the conversation on life without if today. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm really excited to share with you that today we are going to have both the authors of this book live in this show. Yes, we are going to have Mr. Sudipto Chowdhury, the global corporate leader. Along with that, we are going to have Mr. King Birje, who has written over 100 books in his journey. And out of those, many of those books are Amazon bestsellers. So, ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, let us invite our guests of the show tonight, Mr. Sudipto Chowdhury and Mr. King Birje. A warm welcome, Sudipto sir and King Birje. A warm welcome to BookFlix Live episode number 9. I'm really excited. We're going to have some wonderful time to discuss about the book. Welcome back to BookFlix Live, Sudipto sir and King Birje. Sudipto sir and King Birje. Before moving into the main conversation on our 9th episode of BookFlix Live, I would like to take a couple of minutes here because we have already covered 8 episodes so far, and we have discussed about many powerful stories, powerful insights, which has been shared in this book. And also, when you had been explaining about the concepts and different steps about this book in the previous 7-8 episodes, I think there has been very, very powerful stories that you had shared. You had shared about your personal lives. You had shared about some great personalities who have demonstrated those behaviors that you have expressed in this book. And some of those stories are very, very insightful, very powerful. I have personally benefited a lot from those books. I'm sure our viewers also would have benefited out of it. Here, I would like to just take 1 minute to do a recap about those big bullet points, maybe big 2-3 things which is there in our mind. And that may be a good place to start with. The first question of our today's show to our guest. I would say the underlying message this book is giving is that you can actually own your destiny. You can actually own your success. You can write your success by design, by implementing the steps and the frameworks presented by this book called Life Without If. In this book, actually, if I have to talk about 2-3 bullet points, in this book, the role of if in our life is very, very well explained. There are negative ifs and there are positive ifs. And if he or she is able to minimize the impact of the negative ifs and leverage the benefits of the positive ifs, somebody can change his life. And another thing which I really do like, which is there in this book, is something called Life Without If Gym, wherein they are just not talking about the concepts or the frameworks which is there in this book. They are actually talking about helping the reader implement those concepts or frameworks in their day-to-day life. This is what they talk about, Life Without If Gym. I really like this concept. Having said this, I'd like to come to Mr. Joy. Mr. Joy, if you could take us through like few steps or few ways how somebody can assess himself with respect to the guidelines or the concepts, parameters which are shared in this book, so that somebody can assess himself to locate himself before making a master plan in his journey. Over to you.
That's a really nice question, and moreover, it's very important because for any change, we firmly believe assessment and identification of the problem is the key. So, the life without a action plan, it takes the reflection from the book, which we discuss with our readers, and then it turns it into a roadmap. It's like constructing a bridge between intention and execution. So the plan has three main components that connect to each other. First is assessing your behavioral assessment. This part is crucial because here you answer the question, what am I doing today? Who am I being today? You know, uh, you need to be honest to yourself. You need to look honestly at which side of each continuum you're operating from today. Are you being proactive? Are you being reactive? Are you being adaptable or are you being dependent on circumstances? Are you being decisive with purpose or are you waiting for right conditions? So, analyzing, being honest is the first step. You're not judging anyone, including yourself. It's about knowing where we stand. So, only if you realize that can you choose how to move ahead. Second step is assessing your personal skills. Once we understand our behaviors, we examine our competencies and our capabilities. What skills do I have? Are these the right skills that support the life I want to build? Which of my skills are strong and which of my skills need strengthening? Let me give you a short example. Someone may be proactive, but they lack communication skills, they lack negotiation skills, or they are not good at financial planning. So, behavior is the engine of a car, but skills are the wheels. So, without strengthening both, we struggle to translate our intentions into actual outcomes. So you need correct skill assessment. And third is understanding the what, why, and how. This is something that Sudipto sir had discussed with me right at the beginning, when we had started discussing this book. And I was in line with his thought immediately. The triad of what, why, and how gives you structure and clarity. What do I want to achieve? You need to define this very specifically. Unless you do that, you will not, your progress cannot be measured correctly. Why do you want it? The why is crucial because if you have the right why, it will fuel your resilience. When we understand the purpose behind a goal, we stay committed. Even if a challenge comes through, situations are not aligning, you are resilient because you understand your goal. Third, how will I execute it? This final step converts your design into reality. It means breaking your huge goals into small tasks, milestones, timelines, accountability, and that is how you're being resourceful. And when all three sections connect, your action, it happens automatically. It is inevitable. Behavior will provide the foundation, skills give you capability, and the what, why, how provides you a strategy, a focus to achieve what you want to do. So instead of a vague desire, you have a structured plan. That is what is the core message of life without this. It is not to change into someone whom you are not. It's just to become the someone whom you're capable of being, and we provide you the roadmap to actually go out and do that. So I hope I answered your question.
Absolutely, Mr. Joy. Thank you for sharing this so clearly. And I would like to
Pleasure.
request our viewers, if you have any queries or any doubt, you can please share your questions to the number which has been shared below the screen. And sir, now I would like to come to you, Sudipto
Yeah.
sir. Sir, we have briefly discussed about the concept, and also we have discussed about how we can assess somebody so that he can prepare himself to build the master plan. So far whatever I have discussed with Mr. Joy and I have shared by myself, if you have anything to add on this, or at the same time if you can just share how somebody can build a master plan with the help of the guidelines, principles which has been shared by this book, Life Without If. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Brojan and Joy. Joy, you have very well and crisply summarized. But let me take the thread where you have left it and turn it from a little bit. That what I you said that you need to have a clarity on what you want to do, why you want to do, and how you want to do. That's where you ended, but let me start from here. So, what actually gives you the clarity in your head? Why is your energy which actually helps you doing what you want to do, and how actually makes the intention converted into an action? Okay, and our book Life Without If is not really focusing primarily on this, but it is actually focusing on, if you know your what, if you actually know the why and how, which somehow a lot of people knows, but still people doesn't, not all of them actually successfully execute them properly to convert into a success. Okay, why so? And that's where the book Life Without If comes from, and where the if plays a huge role. Okay, so that is the behavioral part of the execution. Okay, while you have a clarity in mind, while you might have a strong intent, and you also know what to do, but in the situation of doing, you are actually not alone. The world is not where exactly what you want to do. The world is you, along with many more things. There are environment, there are other people like you. We have a great plan. We might know everything about ourselves. We might control what you want to do, but be aware that you are not in control of the whole world, and the situations are variable. Situation outside, external forces are playing their role, and in that situation, you may find that the way you thought, which is not happening, and that's where your behavior comes in. Some people actually behave in a very positive manner, those uncertain, questionable situation. Some people don't. Like if I take an metaphor of driving a vehicle, like when you are driving a vehicle, you don't look back. You actually look in the front through the windscreen screen and look at the front. While you are looking at the front, you are also observing what is happening through the mirror, and on both sides and on the top. So you are being aware what's happening around you, and you are reacting what's happening around you and steering your vehicle or managing your speed. So life without if is actually controlling your behavior in a positive manner, okay, which will multiply and optimize your plan and help you into an execution which will convert your intent into a success. And that's what life without if is. If is part of the life. Uncertainty is the only certainty. But how do you deal with if? How do you deal with uncertainty? That's what we talk about in this book. Okay, so I think that's what I thought I would just add to what Joy has already very well described to complete that. Okay, so this book is not so much about what, how, why, but it tells you, gives you a guideline to understand your, define your what, understand the why, and give a plan to of how. But this book mainly tells you to assess are you choosing the right what based on your skills. If you have the skill of singing, are you going that way or you are trying to play cricket? If you have an intent which is not in line with what your skills are, it will never happen. So it helps. It gives you a framework to design your what, match with your skill, and gives you a what, a how, but it primarily helps you in controlling the uncertainties or the ifs from an fear to a fearless situation, from a negative way of behaving to a positive way of behaving. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Sudipto sir. That makes the whole thing even more clear. And here I'd like to just park for a moment, and sir, I'd like to maybe ask from my end one or two questions. You or Joy, anybody can pick up and share on this, because in this book there has been some very powerful, interesting topics which has been really highlighted, on which our viewers also have given some suggestions, even some queries on this. One part which is very interesting is like how somebody can be completely driven by purpose. A fearful situation can be completely turned into a fearless execution mode. So this particular point has been highlighted time and again with very, very powerful real life stories, which we had already gone through. This is one point. The other point on which I'd like to just have any kind of a comment or any additional perspective from either of you is how you can manage yourself so that you are not ruled by the external conditions, right? So you are really driving with your own purpose, with your own vision. So on these 2 points, any additional point that you can add on, that will be great for our viewers. Over to you.
Okay, let me, being the senior most, let me take the opportunity to take on the first one. Okay, from a fearful situation, how do you actually move into a fearless action? Okay, I have shared my own stories in the book, which anybody, when the readers go through, they will those are available. Okay, let me take up another story, which I have probably not shared, which is, I remember when one day I came back from my office, and my father, who was just retired few years, and he had he was suffering from cold and cough. He went to an ENT, and I came back home and I saw all my family was sitting in the all of them were in the bedroom, sitting on the bed, and everybody was kind of a very, very sad, and kind of almost, when I entered room, they started crying. What happened? I came to know the doctor has diagnosed my father with a throat cancer. And the moment, along with other members of my family, I froze. And believe me, almost 2.5 days, all of us were kind of frozen with the fear of what has not happened till then. Nothing happened. My father was there, we all were there, but we hypothesize the situation that something bad going to happen. And we froze in the fear. We reacted to the fear. We forgot that we can act on it. And 2.5 days, there was no cooking at home. Our neighbor paid us something. Okay. And on the third day night, I don't know what happened. Something happened to me. And I said, what's wrong with you? Nothing happened. 2.5 days gone. You just got a news. There's an information that the father has malignancy. and you are doing nothing about it and only being fearful. And fear is making you furthermore fearful, and he is very much there. You are not eating well, you are not thinking, you are not doing. So what's wrong? Then that morning, I started, researching on that particular disease, the doctors. I spoke to my sister who is a doctor. I even forgot to inform her. So we started working on it. We realized maybe there is not a very nice news, nice information, but we have to do something about it. And we started working on it, and then we decided which doctor and where to he should be treated, and he got treated, and with God's grace, after 6 months of treatment, he actually got completely clean, and he survived till 101 year 3 months. We celebrated his centenary birthday along with him. So, point here is there will be fear. There will be situation where bad news will come. There will be situations where uncertainty will be there. But what turns this uncertainty and the fear into a positive action and the positive result is the purpose. Now I realize, when I actually gone through, we have thought through, we have done research and wrote this book, Life Without If, and lived our life, that night, what I said, I don't know what happened. What happened is I found my purpose. The purpose was to treat my dad with the best possible way, because that is the only thing I can do, or we can do. Okay? We are not God. We are human beings. Everything is not in our control. But what is in our control? Are we doing the best within our own capability? And if that is defined, that is defining the purpose. The moment you have a clear purpose, that night I realized my purpose, that I have to ensure I take my father to the best doctor, best institute, and get him treated and give him the best treatment, and then see what happens. And God helped me. He got treated. He became well. He was at that point of time 80 something. And after that, he lived a healthy life of 101 years. How many people in India lives 101 years? Okay. We celebrated his 100th birthday together, and he left this, world with all his dreams fulfilled, with all his children and grandchildren with him. Okay. So that day, if I continued to be fearful, I was fearful till I did have a purpose. The moment I got the purpose, my fear vanished. Purpose took the driving seat, and that's what this book talks about. Okay, are you conditionally active, or are you driven by purpose? Are you fearful or driven by purpose? If you are driven by purpose, then fear will vanish. So that's what we talk about in this book, and that's what I think your readers will find a solution how to overcome fear when is simply define your purpose.
Thank you, Sudipto sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sudipto sir. I'm 100% sure that our viewers are getting a lot of values out of this conversation. Sudipto sir, I really do remember, the way you have celebrated the 100th birthday of your father. We had been very lovingly seeing this or seeing that occasion on the social media. And sir, it was really powerful. I would say explanation. I think what better explanation can be there than what you have done. In the past episode, also you have talked about Your another real life story wherein purpose has played a big role and changed the entire scenario for better. And today again, you have brought out another such powerful real life story from your own life. Thank you so much for sharing on that. Big takeaway is for our viewers, I would say, in that moment, definitely look at the opportunities, look at what is there under your control. Don't get carried away by the fear, and focus on what is there in your control. And if you have a purpose, definitely that fearful situation will be changed into a fearless, purpose driven, fearless action, which will bring a much brighter future. Maybe you had never expected, like in the case of Sudipto sir's father, uh, he very well explained that, he lived for over 100 years. How many people in India get to live 100 years, right? His father could live for 100 years, or he had done a lot of great works in his life, which he had talked in some previous episode. Thank you so much, Sudipto sir, for sharing such a powerful example, real life story to support this particular concept that you are writing in this book. Very, very powerful. Uh, Let me now come to Joy. Joy, anything you want to add on those two topics that I have talked about?
I think Sudipto sir just summarized it up so beautifully. And there's nothing to add to that.
Well, thank you so much. Sudipto sir here, taking this opportunity, I mean, it's so great to see both of you together on the same screen live on this conversation. And I'd like to take this opportunity for a rapid fire. Maybe in the previous question, Sudipto sir has taken the opportunity to share his thoughts and his views. And now, why don't I go to Joy if Joy is okay with it? I'd like to go for a
Of course.
rapid fire. Some questions wherein you can just quickly reply to those questions, and that will bring more clarity in terms of the concepts and every step that we have discussed in this book. Is it okay with you?
Of course. Let's start.
Okay, let's start. So, Mr. Joy, let me start with the first question for the rapid fire. The first question is, what made you write a book about the word if?
The idea was all Sudipto sir's, and thanks to him, when he broached the subject and we started to talk, so that is the first time I realized that such a small word, if it silently directs all our choices. And when we start to shift from our fearful lives to our empowering lives, that is when our life starts to move forward. And at that moment, the both of us decided this has to be written. That was why this book happened.
Okay. So, the second question is, how does if really shape our lives, according to you?
Completely. Because how we respond to the ifs in our lives, that determines our future, our entire future. Managing doubts and acting with intentions is the only way to create some progress. So the doubts that is created have to be overcome if you want, proper a proper path ahead in your life.
Great. Let me come to the third question. Why did you feel that you need to highlight behavioral continuum in this book?
Great. So because as the name suggests, it is a continuum. There is one end and there's another end, and it's a process. We don't just jump from negative to positive instantly. We move along a spectrum, and awareness helps us to consciously shift towards our growth. So that is why it's important to understand that this is a continuum. You have to make small steady steps to go towards the enablers. That's what we call them in this book, the enablers, the positive side of our behavior.
Great. So, fourth question. We have talked a lot about our intentions and the reality. So, those are like different directions most of the time. So, according to you, what bridges the gap between intention and reality? Over to you.
One and only one thing: execution. A dream becomes real only when you take some action, to move in that direction. You might have your thoughts, your emotions, your desires, but unless you take action in that same direction, you cannot succeed. So execution is the most important thing.
Absolutely. Question number 5. Most of the time, we prefer to wait for the perfect conditions to arrive to start any new project or action. So, according to you, why shouldn't we wait for the perfect conditions to start any action? Over to you.
Great. Because if we wait for the conditions to be perfect, we might never start ever. We need to take action that is decisive, even when things are not perfect. So that is how you create momentum and eventually succeed.
Perfect. Question number 6. What's the downside of seeking approval of others before starting anything?
Okay. Seeking approval is equivalent to, external validation. So the moment you want external validation, we lose control of our path. We are not in control then. So our decisions are not based on our strengths. We don't have the freedom. So that is the downside of seeking approval.
Great. Question number 7. How does a reactive mindset hold all of us back?
If your mindset is reactive, you let your emotions take control. Your emotions are in charge. And if you are proactive, then you anticipate the problems or challenges which are going to come your way, and you take the right action, and so your outcomes change accordingly. So that is why a reactive mindset is a big problem. Always holds us back.
Great. Question number 8. What is the biggest danger of the habit of hesitation?
The moment we hesitate, there's an opportunity in front of us, and we are in doubt, what if, and poof, the opportunities are gone. So you make a delay, you lose your opportunity, and so you lose your confidence. Because how do we get confident? When we take action, even a small step, that's when we feel okay, we can do it. But if you hesitate, we lost everything.
How does design control look like?
Design control, uh, I would call it taking deliberate action, deliberate choices. So everything is your choice. You're being deliberate about what you want. You make intentional plans, and the moment you execute it, your life aligns with your own goals.
Perfect. Uh, why is reducing dependency so important in our lives?
If you are dependent, your growth is restricted. The right thing to do is be adaptable, because then you develop inner confidence and the strength and resilience required to move ahead in life. That's it.
Great. How does mindset affect our adaptability?
Mindset is a roadblock for progress. It just stops your mind from thinking positive, from taking the right action to succeed. But if you're flexible, you open new doors. You evolve faster and you move towards your goals.
What fuels innovation?
Innovation, I would say, it's stepping outside your comfort zone, trying new ideas, not being stagnant. Just going behind progress. Take small steps, but don't be stagnant.
Absolutely. So, Mr. Joy, I have 3 more questions. So, let's just complete that. The 13th question, which I'm going to ask here is, what turns adversity into strength?
Adversity to strength, your resilience, the way you have trained your mind and your behavior. If you're resilient, you can face any adversity, but you'll bounce back. You learn from the mistakes that you made, and you rectify things and you keep moving forward. So
Absolutely. What does a life without if look like to you?
the core words of like one of the core words of this book that we have kept repeating is a life by design. So, life without if is a life that is designed intentionally, which is guided by your values, your choices, and consistent action.
Absolutely. The final question, Mr. Joy. What legacy do you hope the readers will build after reading this book?
My hope, and more than hope, it's a belief now because of the kind of reviews that we have been getting from our readers and the love that they've been pouring in is a legacy of Sudipta sir and I being able to contribute. Like when you act beyond ourselves, you have an impact that lasts far longer than any of our achievements. So all that I want, the legacy would like this book to leave is to contribute in some way and benefit someone and get the science out there, and that's it.
Amazing. Thank you so
Great.
much, Mr. Joy, for answering all those
Thank you.
15 questions so well. Your questions would have helped our viewers to have better clarity on the concepts and the steps which has been shared in this book. Thank you so much for that. So, Sudipto sir, let me come back to you. I would like to probably the concluding question for this episode today to you, sir. Though I would like to continue the conversation, for more time. So let me come to the question, sir. We have discussed about every part of this particular book in the past 8 episodes, and today is the 9th episode, and we have covered almost every part of the book, this amazing book called Life Without If. So according to you, if you feel anything which is left out or anything beyond whatever we have covered in the last 8 episodes and today's episode, I'd like to request you to share your thoughts or anything that is left out, or maybe if there is any message that I would like to give at this moment. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Brojan, and thank you all the viewers for being with us. Thank you all the reviewers and the readers who has written such nice reviews. And I'm sure this book is helping you. I keep saying that this book is not a one read book. This is a minimum 2 read book. First time when you read, you may get to understand the concept, but when you read for the second time, that's where it get inculcated into you, and you start realizing and acting properly with this particular tool. So coming back to that, your question, we have deliberated and discussed in length about this book, chapter by chapter, the concept by concept, action planning, assessment, everything. But at the end, I will say there are 3 things which is very, very critical to keep at the back of your mind while following any prescription or any action or any execution as per the book or anything else you want to follow. And that starts with the cover of the book. You see on the out, out is striked off. So if is life without if, we said it cannot be without if. Life has to be with if. So this striking off, that's where I will say the first point. Life cannot be without if. That means life cannot be without uncertainty. Uncertainty is probably the only certainty in life. And there, whatever good plan you have, whatever good behavior, right behavior you display, be prepared for uncertainty. And if you are not aware of what's happening around you, the uncertain situation are the opportunities. If you do not really focus and understand the uncertainty and the opportunity behind the uncertainty, then your progress may get stalled. Let me take a small example. I think I keep saying, taking this example, if you remember that Agfa or Kodak, as a company. They were the leader in photography. Okay, and there was a situation, and we lived our childhood, with that photograph camera and the rolls, and for any event, any vacation, every single moment. Without that, nothing used to happen to capture the moment. But when they found that uncertainty of suddenly, business going down, they could not realize that the whole imaging was moving from analog film based to digital imaging. And that's where they missed the opportunity. They missed the identified opportunity, and they died. So did almost what happened to many other things. So uncertainty is certainty, and that's where lies the opportunity. So be aware, focus on the uncertainty, find out the opportunity behind the uncertainty. That's the point number one. Point number two, life is not always either or. It is, you have to make choice, but not always either or. Sometimes it is an and most of the time, with the complexity, current complexity of technology, communication, life is the world is becoming smaller, choices are many, so it cannot be this or that. It is this and that. So, and is a more guiding way of living life successfully, meaningfully than or, either or. That's the point number two. And the last, not but not the least, probably very, very important, that life cannot be lived alone. And life, you cannot be successful only by yourself. And sometimes what is important, not sometimes, almost every time, what is important to be successful and to lead life meaningfully is to collaborate with others. One cannot have every single skill. One cannot have every single knowledge. One cannot have every single resource. But resources are abundant, skills are abundant, technologies are abundant. So what you have, collaborate with what you do not have. And when you collaborate effectively, even to the extent I say, collaborate with your enemies. Don't only collaborate with your friends and well wishers, collaborate with your enemies if required. And that's what I call frenemism. And frenemism is the way of future life. And look at that telecom, what both of us have spent a lot of time, and with being with me, Joy has also become a telecom expert kind. How the telecom company sharing each other's infrastructure, sharing their own equipment, towers with enemies. What once were enemies now has become friend. So frenemism, collaboration with, even to the extent with the enemies, is a way of living a meaningful life. So to conclude, I think the three guiding factor of living life by design, life without if, which is not really the core of life without if, but which is the core of every way of living meaningfully, is do not be afraid of meeting uncertainty. Uncertainty is the certainty. Find the opportunity behind uncertainty. It is not about choosing between one and the other. It is about how can you actually take both and make an and life than an or life, and make it a bigger opportunity. And third, collaborate, even if it means with your enemies. That's called frenemism, and live a much more stronger, meaningful life. I think these are the three I would add if I had to make the statement. Over to you.
That was so awesome, sir. Amazing. Thank you so much, sir. And coming to Joy King Birje, Joy, before we conclude today's session and this series of, I would say, sessions wherein we have discussed about this book, Life Without If, any last words from your end that you would like to share? Over to you.
My closing for this podcast is first I'd like to thank you and Sudipto sir and the audience who have been kind enough to give us their time and participate and leave amazing comments and reviews. So thank you everyone. And my last statement will be about this book. Uh, it's not something that we learn in our school textbooks. But life without if is a science. There are no two ways about that. If neurology is true, so is this concept, and it's never too late to start self improvement. And here is a book that tells me what I can do to become a better version of me, not someone else, mind you. It's not telling me to be like Mahatma Gandhi or the Wright brothers or anybody else. It's just asking me to be the best possible version of Joy to achieve the goals that Joy wants to live a life which Joy desires by his design. And I just wish I would have this book 20 years back when I started my career. And so I would like all our readers to read it twice, thrice, draw your blueprint, revisit periodically, and may you achieve all your goals and pass it on to everyone you care about. That's it.
Thank you so much for those amazing words, Joy. Coming back to Sudipto sir. Sudipto sir, before we conclude, I'd like to say a few words, sir. First of all, you always had been my mentor in my journey, and your presence in my journey or in my life had made a lot of positive changes, positive contributions, and thank you so much for that. And I'd like to thank you for agreeing to be the first guest of this live show series, BookFlix Live. So far, we have done together uh, 9 episodes, including today's episode. And conversing with you at any moment, in any occasion, always has been so inspiring and so, I would say, delighted moment for me. And this journey of 8 episodes together with you and Joy will always be remembered, cherished fondly. And I have personally learned a lot from these conversations and whatever stories that you have shared, whatever insights both of you have shared through the course of these 8, 9 episodes. I'm sure our viewers would have benefited a lot from these conversations. And if some of them would have picked up this book, they would have been able to get more value out of this conversation, this 9 series that we have had. And I'd like to thank both of you for bringing this great piece of gift to the world called Life Without If. I'm sure a lot of lives are changing because of this book, and in future a lot of lives will be changed for better because of this book. And I would like to congratulate you for this great journey that you have embarked into. And I'm hearing from both of you that you are going to continue this journey to bring in more versions of this book, or I would say continuation of this topic, Life Without If. I'm sure that is going to be great, and that is going to succeed. And my prayers that you do really well in your future endeavors also. And I would like to wish you all the very best. And I'd like to again sincerely thank you for your time, for sharing those wonderful insights. And thank you so much to both of you.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. And read the book Life Without Eve and live the life without Eve. Thank you and all the best.
Thank you so much, Sudipto sir. Thank you so much, Joy King. Thank you.